Sophia will narrate how I seized the reins of my life and put an end to my husband Xander's harmful impact. To maintain confidentiality, I will be employing fictitious names. As a leading legal professional in my state, maintaining anonymity is essential for numerous reasons. Let's avoid exploring the complexities of my relationship with Xander. We experienced love, entered into marriage, and ultimately parted ways. The affection, it appeared, was not mutual, as Xander betrayed my trust. The indicators were clear: evasion, spending too much time away, and numerous work-related travels, despite my lack of involvement in his substantial enterprise. Even with my achievements in the legal field, Xander viewed me as a failure simply because my earnings were lower than his. One day, amidst yet another of his so-called business trips, I resolved to dig deeper. I stumbled upon a hidden Facebook account on his old laptop, validating my doubts. He was involved with a stunning woman, someone he deemed more appealing than I, frequently commenting on my looks. Filled with heartbreak and fury, I faced him right away. "Sandra, are you being unfaithful to me?" "I possess evidence," I asserted. Xander coldly remarked, "Sophia, you've lost your appeal to me. You seem to be absorbed in trivial matters, overlooking my presence. Moreover, you're not a supermodel who can enchant me solely with your appearance." Perplexed, I shot back, "What on earth are you referring to, Xander? My job is quite demanding. And you were aware of that when we tied the knot. I have not overlooked you. You were the one who chose to stop coming home and turned away from communication." That was the moment I uncovered Xander's affair, the result of my decision to finally confront him. I expected some semblance of regret from him. Yet the icy reply I got took me by surprise. He deflected all responsibility onto me, attempting to rationalize his infidelity, an assertion that lacked any merit. Determined to clear my name, I highlighted the inconsistencies in his claims, rather than justifying his actions. He grew distant again and casually admitted that he felt a sense of relief at my discovery of his affair. In a chilling tone, Xander declared, "It's good that you found out, Sophia. I can finally show off my beautiful girlfriend. She and I will create a wonderful life together once I part ways with you. At last, I will unite with someone deserving of me and my legacy." His words struck me with overwhelming force, sending a chilling tremor through my body. While discussing divorce, he not only belittled me but also claimed that I fell short of his standards. He accused me of being a bad wife, showing no remorse for his affair and even boasting about how a mistress would make a better spouse. As I stood there, tears cascading down my cheeks, he belittled me, boasting about his affair with an unsettling sense of pride. This was the man I had cherished for more than 10 years. And his words broke me into pieces. Through my tears, I questioned, "How could you say that, Xander? Throughout all these years, I have stood by your side in every circumstance, upholding my promises and cherishing you above everything else." His cold reply pierced through, undermining my value. "Well, Sophia, it's no longer of any consequence. We simply aren't a match. I am now a proud business owner, and possessing a law degree, regardless of its prestige, won't serve me well as a woman with average looks." Feeling completely belittled, I voiced my objections. "How could you do this, Xander? I am a strong individual, regardless of whether I align with your limited standards of attractiveness. I have been a devoted partner to you, and now you are considering ending our marriage." He stated coldly, correcting me, "I'm not considering divorce, Sophia. I have made my decision to end our marriage. I'm finished. I no longer wish to continue this relationship. I will be filing soon and have already secured an excellent attorney. It would be wise for you to leave before I return home. I no longer wish to see your face." A few hours after Xander ended our call, he had a friend deliver the divorce papers to me, and the look on their face was one of sympathy. I took the papers with a heavy heart, closed the door behind me, and wept bitterly, allowing the truth of my squandered years with a dreadful man to wash over me. Nevertheless, I resolved that this would not defeat me. I was a determined individual ready to seize my destiny and impart a valuable lesson to Xander. When Xander's friend brought the papers, he noted that Xander had mentioned prolonging the divorce process. At first, I was confused, but then it hit me that we had a prenup. Xander had firmly stated that I was entitled to half of his business if he betrayed me. A detail I had neglected amidst my emotional upheaval. It was clear why Xander wished to extend the divorce proceedings. He wished I would relinquish my rightful share. Resolute in my pursuit of what belonged to me, I promptly contacted his attorney to arrange a meeting. In just 2 days, I relocated from Xander's house to my childhood home, a place that belonged to me. I messaged Xander to let him know that I had already relocated my things, stating, "I removed my unattractive face and body from your Dan house. It's great to see you've found clarity and are keeping things calm." Xander replied, flaunting his lawyer's esteemed reputation. Yet I coolly cautioned him, "I certainly won't be handing over my business. For the time being, you will keep your distance from me." Committed to honoring the prenup, I was prepared to confront any obstacles that might come my way. "I prefer not to engage in conversation with you. Please communicate with me exclusively via my legal representatives from now on. And I anticipate that you will clear out my residence." Xander's words sparked a torrent of seething anger inside me. It's remarkable how fury and disdain can ignite a person's resolve when confronted with such sheer scorn. My thoughts settled, and I found myself nearly chuckling at Xander's lack of awareness. He was completely unaware of the opponent he faced, uncertain that his lawyer, Jake, was aware of the situation. I set up a meeting with him at a cafe. As soon as Jake laid eyes on me, he started to shake noticeably, finding his composure only when he realized who I was. He appeared self-assured, yet it lacked depth. Jake was a competent lawyer, yet he was unprepared to confront someone of my caliber. Xander had never viewed me as someone of influence, leaving Jake completely unready for our meeting. Jake seemed anxious, his hands trembling, yet I held back from escalating the intimidation. He bore no responsibility for my situation. "Greetings, Jake. It was a pleasure to see you here," I said, observing his astonishment. "If you have any uncertainties, allow me to clarify them for you. Indeed, I am the spouse. I sincerely apologize. Ma'am, your arrival took me by surprise." Jake stumbled over his words, clearly unsettled by my presence. "The surnames differ as I changed my name after obtaining my law degree through marriage." I clarified that I utilized my maiden name for official matters. "Ah, I see," Jake murmured, clearly uneasy. "It seems you're looking to prolong this case. That's what my client has conveyed to me. Your client has not been entirely truthful with you, Jake. He is the one intent on extending this case. Didn't he mention that to you?" I faced him head-on, fully aware that my standing in the legal field carried significant weight. Jake fidgeted beneath my gaze. Used to probing deeply, I spoke plainly. "There's no need to respond to that, Jake. I have been acquainted with Xander for more than 10 years. I married that fool. For heaven's sake, I understand the thoughts that occupy his mind." Worried about Jake's situation, I chose to share my insights with him. "Given our connection, I feel it's only right to share the honest truth about this divorce with you." "Could you please clarify, ma'am?" Jake asked, visibly surprised. "Has my beloved husband shared with you that he was unfaithful to me?" I inquired directly, observing Jake's face for any sign of agreement. His response conveyed so much, validating what I had suspected all along. Once again, Jake found himself taken aback by my revelation. "I won't deceive you all. It was painful and bruised my pride to confess to my colleague that I had been betrayed. The experience is far from enjoyable. Yet, I was aware that revealing my feelings would be a mistake. Regardless of the humiliation I experienced, I maintained a sense of control, fully conscious of my position. Jake, in contrast, was unaware. He replied, "Well, I don't believe my client has mentioned that to me. However, he cautioned me that, as he put it, you would level some unfounded allegations in an attempt to destroy him." "Oh, you unfortunate soul, Jake. Your client has manipulated you expertly. It's certainly uplifting to hear that Xander regards you as one of the finest lawyers in the field." "Indeed, that's quite a flattering remark. However, I will never be able to reach your level, ma'am," Jake admitted. "I would have appreciated it if he had mentioned that his wife is also in the legal profession. He merely mentioned that you are employed at a law firm. My husband has always dismissed my achievements. He consistently found ways to diminish my efforts and impact. I regret having stayed with him for so long. It was a wise decision on my part to sign the prenup to protect myself. I mentioned. Jake was utterly astonished by the mention of the word prenup. He appeared taken aback, as if the term was entirely unfamiliar to him. It was clear to me that he had fallen into another trap. Xander had conveniently overlooked mentioning the prenup to Jake, perhaps under the impression that I had also forgotten about it. Indeed, who can say? It was of no consequence. With the news of the prenup circulating, Jake felt completely overwhelmed. This marriage includes a prenuptial agreement. Your spouse didn't bring that up. Could you provide any evidence? Ma'am? Jake asked. Indeed, I possess ample evidence. Jake, I brought the documents with me. I sensed that Xander would attempt to evade the repercussions of his choices. Not while I'm here. I would truly appreciate the opportunity to review the documents. Ma'am, I believe it would be necessary to obtain evidence of his affair. Should you have any available? There's no need to be concerned. Jake, I packed all that was needed. As I mentioned, I'm not the one looking to prolong this divorce. The quicker it occurs, the more advantageous it will be for me. I provided Jake with all the evidence, including messages, pictures, and documents. I possessed all the evidence tucked away in my handbag, effortlessly handing it over to Jake, confident that the outcome would inevitably align with my interests. Jake meticulously examined every single document before signing, his expression reflecting a sense of defeat. He then turned to me and remarked, I see that you possess undeniable evidence of it all. Ma'am, I was completely unaware of all these matters. I came to that conclusion. Jake, furthermore, I understand the challenges that arise when dealing with untrustworthy clients, particularly when the opposing party is represented by a formidable attorney. Indeed, you have a point. Ma'am, I believe that covers everything I wanted to discuss today. A serious conversation with my client is essential before I make a decision on how to proceed with his case. I have no doubt that someone will reach out to you shortly. Though I can't guarantee it will be me. I sensed what Jake was alluding to, yet chose to remain silent about it. I expressed my gratitude for his time and then made my way out of the cafe. I immediately got to work, focusing on preparing my own documents for the divorce. The lingering sadness had vanished completely. A fierce anger surged within me, compelling me to ensure that Xander faced the consequences of his actions. And I was certain he had no escape from the turmoil he had brought upon himself. Xander took a day to respond to me. He reached out to me on my number even after instructing me not to get in touch with him directly. It was amusing yet predictable. I had a feeling he would end up in this predicament. When I picked up the phone, his voice was filled with anger. What on earth did you say to my lawyer? Sophia? Well, look who's reaching out after advising me to keep my distance. What transpired with your lawyer? Xander? Cease your antics. Sophia, share with me what you said to him that led to his decision to quit today. Your attorney resigned today? That's quite unfortunate. Xander, you really ought to have been more transparent about your circumstances and the opponents they would be facing. Are you sure about what you're saying? You are utterly insignificant. I refuse to allow you to take my family business from me. Oh, I would be intrigued to witness your attempt. Xander, I will seek out a more competent lawyer and question your credibility. Simply observe and see what unfolds. I will prevail over you in court. You will approach me pleading for compassion. That sounds like a solid idea. Xander, wishing you the best with that endeavor. However, I would like to offer a piece of advice from a legal perspective. Make sure to inform your new attorney about your affair and the prenuptial agreement. When I expressed that, Xander just disconnected the call. It brought a smile to my face. He found himself in a precarious situation, yet remained blissfully unaware. He would approach every lawyer in town, hoping to find someone willing to take on his case. I have a reputation that precedes me, so others are aware not to cross me. Furthermore, those foolish enough to fall for his deceptions would be brought back to reality when I revealed my evidence. Xander claimed he would have me pleading for mercy. I was certain it was only a matter of time before he would arrive. Pleading at my doorstep, I knew Xander would return. Pleading at my doorstep. He truly had no alternative. On a beautiful morning as I prepared for my day, A knock echoed at my door. I found myself somewhat puzzled by the unexpected arrival at such an unusual hour. Picture my astonishment as I swung the door open, only to be met by my soon-to-be ex-husband. Appearing desolate and exhausted, I welcomed him inside to avoid the chaos unfolding outside my door. I was already managing a lot. As he stepped through the door, I remarked, "Make it quick, Xander. I can't afford to spend any more time on this. Your presence here is a mystery to me. We were meant to communicate solely through our attorneys. Indeed, regarding that matter, I still haven't located a suitable divorce attorney." "Oh, that's unfortunate for you, Xander. You should move quickly, as it seems your mistress has been eagerly waiting to tie the knot with you. I no longer have any concerns about her." "Hey, Sophia, we should have a conversation. You have been undermining my lawyer to prevent them from taking my case. That is quite unjust." His words struck me as so amusing that I couldn't help but burst into laughter. I was astonished that Xander would dare to place all the blame on me. This once again demonstrated how little he appreciated my craft. He believed that merely by offering his wealth, others would eagerly flock to him. Oh my, that's quite the delightful jest. Xander, allow me to clarify that misunderstanding for you. I assure you, I have not been undermining anything. Your lack of insight is creating issues. I find myself perplexed. What have I done? Do you need a reminder about how you deceived your lawyers regarding the affair and the prenup? That is sufficient to render them foolish in court. Do you believe attorneys would eagerly take on clients who are not dependable like you? Additionally, I must confess that my name tends to cause many to turn away. While you might view me as insignificant, I assure you that I have earned a solid reputation in this field. Indeed, I understand that now, Sophia. I've attempted to be transparent with attorneys as well, yet none seem inclined to assist me. That's the outcome when one attempts to challenge an unyielding prenup. You truly ought to have navigated your affair with more determination. Xander, it's irrelevant at this point. The harm has been inflicted. No reasonable attorney would advocate for your position. You will be handing over 50% of your enterprise to me. Xander's face conveyed everything. He was determined to protect his business. That's the reason he sought a competent attorney and aimed to prolong the divorce proceedings. He aimed to keep me in suspense just long enough for me to reach a breaking point and walk away, relinquishing any claim to half of his company. After several days, it dawned on him that he would stand alone in this matter. He was struggling to locate any attorney willing to take me on. Thus, he took the action he believed was his final option. He began to weep and plead. "Sophia, you understand the significance this venture holds for me. I kindly ask you to reconsider this action. Everything else is fair game. But please, let's not discuss dividing the business." "Why not, Xander? You were the one who included the clause about dividing the business if you were unfaithful. You really believe I would relinquish my rights so effortlessly? I have earned this after the betrayal you displayed so openly. It was merely an error. Sophia, trust me, I have decided to pause my relationship, recognizing the significant error it represented. Perhaps, just perhaps, we could attempt to make this marriage work. This challenge will undoubtedly fortify our resolve." Xander's words had me in stitches once more. The boldness of this man was unparalleled by anyone I had encountered. I found myself at a loss for words. He was genuinely seeking to rekindle their relationship. As if I would be foolish enough to consider that. I was unaware that he had decided to take a break from his affair. Whispers circulated that the mistress was feeling discontent. Nor was Xander. However, if he believes this will draw me back to him, he is completely mistaken. I have already experienced the consequences of a poor choice in marriage and learned my lesson the hard way. Moreover, I understood the reason behind his sudden urgency to reclaim my presence. Your suggestion is quite far-fetched, Xander. I haven't reached this point in my journey by being completely foolish. I understand that you're eager to reconnect, as you wish to avoid dividing your business. Sophia, our time together brought us joy. Let's set aside this moment and begin anew in our marriage. I will end my relationship with my mistress. I truly believe there's no justification for that. Xander, trust me, that woman will take off as soon as she realizes that your wealth won't be substantial post-divorce. This is my opportunity to escape this farce of a marriage. I appreciate you revealing your true self before we started a family. The time has come for you to face the consequences of your actions." At that point, I had essentially completed my work. I fell silent as Xander continued to implore me, desperately asking me not to take away his business. The scene was undeniably dismal, yet it left me completely unmoved. Instead, it reminded me of the nights I lay in bed weeping because of this wretched situation. When I confronted my husband, it felt like a betrayal. Witnessing Xander in a vulnerable moment brought me a sense of satisfaction and fulfilled my desire for revenge. I was in search of a clean break to begin anew. Indeed, I received far more than I had anticipated. Karma struck Xander with relentless speed and force. For weeks, he made every effort to sway my decision and persuade me to return home. I chose to overlook it all. As I had no desire to engage with his theatrics, I felt prepared to embark on a new chapter. Given that he had already initiated the divorce proceedings, I engaged a colleague from my firm to represent me. I lack the expertise of a divorce lawyer, so handling it on my own isn't an option. Moreover, I desired to have as little interaction with him as I could. After a month of attempts to sway my decision, he ultimately had to enlist a lawyer and seek a clean break. He understood that if I pursued the case in court, he would merely encounter embarrassment and ultimately squander funds on court-appointed attorneys. He withdrew and requested a shared separation. The prenup simplified the process of obtaining the divorce for me. Naturally, I possessed ample evidence to demonstrate to everyone that Xander had cheated. According to the prenup, he was obligated to relinquish half of his business to me. He felt a deep sense of discontent, yet escape seemed impossible. He transferred more than 50% of it to me. We extended an offer for him to buy me out, but he lacked the funds. Now, you might wonder why a prominent entrepreneur like Xander would find himself short on cash. He had poured everything into his mistress, who now ignores his calls and texts. It seems she has come to the realization that he will no longer possess wealth. However, at this point, no one is interested in dating her because they are aware of her reputation as a gold digger. It seems that what you put out into the world eventually finds its way back to you. Indeed, the mistress was merely a minor concern in Xander's myriad of troubles. With a significant portion of his business lost, his income took a substantial hit. He was compelled to part with his house due to insufficient funds to keep it up or manage the mortgage effectively. He's now living in a condo that is a significant step down from the grand mansion he once occupied. He attempted to reconnect with me, aiming to reclaim complete authority over his business. Clearly, that's not going to occur. He now faces the choice of either maintaining the current situation or finding a way to save enough money to buy me out. If you're curious about my current state, I can say that I'm doing quite well. I have designated an individual to manage my portion of Xander's business. And thus far, the experience has been exceptional. I found myself enhancing my lifestyle by purchasing a new mansion, thanks to the income I earned from my law practice and business ventures. Everything is progressing smoothly. I'm embracing every moment to the fullest. I truly couldn't be more content. Ultimately, the divorce unfolded favorably for me. Rather than being manipulated by my ex-husband and his affair, I took control and transformed their lives while improving my own.